come in, you know, and then just probably be asleep in the lectures and just, yeah, it was, yeah. But I mean, it's, you know, we are where we are, and it is, you know, it is where it is. It's made me who I am, and, you know, I wouldn't change it. I think, you know, things have moved on, because especially for what I did, like I studied media, you know, and things move on so fast. So it's more the experience and seeing it as a rite of passage, learning that I can actually take care of myself, and, you know, I can cook a food, and, you know what I mean, and look after myself and tidy up the yard and all them kind of things that you wouldn't necessarily, you know, if I'd stayed at home, maybe that might not be the case, as it were. So yeah, man. So it was a cool period, you know. And then real life began, innit?
Yeah. So wait, we go back.
Yeah.
I don't know about this person that couldn't boil pasta. I want to talk about this person with pasta.
There was this what was his name? Dexter, I think it was. And he came from money. Like I think his family owned like a pharmaceutical company or chain or something in it. So I never saw him and this Nets, who's a teacher now, weirdly, I never saw them really cook. And so when I was doing little meals, like I would go to London, come back with a bag of meat, and I'd have seasoned it in London, I'd freeze it, bring it back, and then I'd cook up a whole setting. And like they'd be like, oh my god, what's going on with all these? And I'm just like, it's food, innit? Like this is like, I can't, like, I got tired of like pasta and all them, you know what I mean? As the price, all of them ready, all that kind of nonsense. Within the first couple of weeks, I was like, this can't be life. You know what I mean? I know we're broke, but like we're not this broke. So this he just could. I rarely saw him cook. It was more like Dominoes and them kind of things. And then I saw him burn up a pasta one time, and I was just like, yo, just
wait, burn a pasta.
Yeah. I was just, and that takes a special individual. So like, you know, so yeah.
Who taught you how to cook?
My dad.
Your dad.
My dad's a wicked cook.
Yeah.
My mum taught me certain things, you know what I mean, like certain sort of basics, but my dad is an amazing cook. I've never had it like, if I can ever, I'm alright, you know what I mean, I can throw down, innit. The lady's like a man who can cook, innit, but like my dad is sensational. Wow. Genuinely sensational. Like I still just go around there just to, Dad, you cook? Yeah. So my dad taught me how to season meat and cook a meal up, you know what I mean?
That's good, man.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm coming up with some tips here.
Yeah.
So real life. Where does it start? Where does it begin? Real life.
Graduating and then sort of seeing what that looks like.
You were about 21 this time?
Yeah, so I would have been about 21, 22. I think I was 22 when I started at Evelyn Grace. So 21. So I was unemployed for maybe about, I don't know, for a little while after university. It was in that kind of climate, sort of 2012, where it was quite hard to kind of get a job, and the graduate market as such was quite saturated. So like, I wanted to be a journalist, but it was like, I don't know where to begin. And it's not, and them times there, you know, it's not a massively inclusive industry as it is. So it's like, I don't even know where to begin. And so like, I kind of felt a little down on myself. I was like, I don't know. And so I kind of gave up a little bit, and and then a family friend hollered at me about a TA position. Because I mean, I was applying for loads of things, but it just, you know, it was just, you're in that weird thing where you got to have experience to get experience. That's right now, I ain't got no experience.
It's like, you need to get credit, but you ain't got no credit to get the credit.
So then I found out about EGA. And then I can't remember what the interview process was, but I kind of that's
Evelyn Grace in Brixton, by the way, guys.
Yeah. So baptism by fire. So even now, you know, I kind of joke that short of Baghdad or Rio de Janeiro or something, you know what I mean? I went straight in secondary school in Brixton. You know what I mean? To, you know, and I felt at home, you know, because it weren't too dissimilar, socio-economic kind of environment to where I grew up in London Fields. But like,
that's what I was going to ask you, because obviously that's how we met. So I was, what was I then? Club supervisor, I think, and you were TA, and I was going to ask, like, was it culturally, was it a little bit different?
I think, you know, I'm going to offend some listeners, but like, You know what? There is something tangibly different about South London.
Yes.
Right.
Come
Okay.
On, let me hear it.
Right. I don't know what. I know. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's in the water or in the air or something in it, but like you man have just seen some things, you know. Like I don't know. Like shout out Aaron in it because we're the same age, but my man has seen some things, you know. Like the way, like I'm just thinking, rah, you know. I thought I had a bit of fire to man. You're talking some grease, but it was similar, but it was different. You know what I mean? I think just by virtue of these kids being young and where they lived, it was well. Let me break that down. I think where they lived, it felt similar. It felt at home in some regards. But then I think it was like they were so much more advanced than I was at that age. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm not going to go into all the things, but just like they were just doing and were just aware of things that I had no idea about at that age, and like you know, and they'd obviously been exposed to things that they shouldn't have been exposed to at that age, and just like, you know, what was mad is, you know, I remember in my first year realizing that you know, some of these kids could be friends in school, you know, but then outside of school, you know, because Angel Town's down there and, you know, so-and-so's down there, they couldn't be friends outside of school, and it was just like, right, you know what I mean? And it was just like, I remember going in there the first couple of times and like I remember what I was like at school, so I was so determined to not be mugged off, you know what I mean? And so determined to kind of not, you know, it was Mr. Gaskin when I went in. It was like, you know what I mean, I ran a tight ship, you know what I mean? And it was like, I was not going to be taking the piss out, you know what I mean? 100%, because I knew, like, we didn't have TAs as much when I was a kid, but like, when we did, it was like, okay, line them up, next victim kind of thing. So like, but you know, like, I think that was one of my favorite periods. And I think even for now, what I do is put me in such good stead for challenges that I'm now facing, because you're so aware of safeguarding, and I've worked with SEN kids, and you know, it just, I suppose it's a real kind of formative job, because it kind of prepares you for so many things, you know, like you put in so many situations, and you challenge and you test it, and you know what I mean, and it's not easy. It's not easy, man. Even as a TA, it's not easy. Should I keep doing that? But so that was one of my favourite jobs. Definitely one of my favourite jobs. And obviously, I met some amazing people, yourself included.
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, so I know for myself, I saw you change in that job. I saw you go from, you know, like you said, being there, feeling inexperienced, feeling like I got a sense of like you wanted to do more. Sometimes you felt like you were being ineffective, but then you met one young man that changed. I think changed you and changed the way you viewed that job. Tell me about this special relationship, because I think for people who don't work in schools, I think this is the story I think is so amazing, personally.
Yeah, so I was kind of thrown in the deep end when I started in Evelyn Grace. Like I was kind of supporting this stay-mated kid, this Polish kid. I'm not gonna say his name, but like who just had a lot of, developmentally was perhaps a little behind the curve, as it were, and just had a lot of problems, man. And just like
he didn't speak English,
he could speak English then, but but he was, you know, like he had quite a bad sort of relationship at home with his parents, especially with his dad. He used to be quite sort of make a lot of disparaging remarks about him, and so he had no kind of self-esteem, no kind of self-confidence. You know, academically was doing okay in some areas, less so in other areas, but was almost a bit of a social pariah. And I kind of, you know, these were kids that, you know, he was a little white kid in what was largely a black school, and you know what I mean, and like, but was, you know, it was no angel, you know, it was no angel. It was very antagonistic and would wind these kids up, and because he knew that I would be there, you know what I mean, and like I became very attached to this kid because I felt like he's you know, he also had in addition to all the sort of SEN stuff that he was also, you know, he had like hydrocephalus, which if memory serves is sort of like water on the brain. So he had all of those kind of things, and then he'd be like, things would trigger him, and he would just flip out, you know what I mean? So it'd be down to me to kind of, you know, navigate that space with him and just, you know, talk that through with him. You know, it was one of the hardest things that I've had to do, you know what I mean? It's because I realised, and I think that's largely why I decided that teaching and education wasn't for me is because I took it quite personally. You know what I mean? And like, I remember if I wouldn't be there, because I was also contending with my own things. I had health issues and, you know, other things. And so if I weren't there for a little while, you know, or if I weren't there for a day or two, you know, someone would come up to me, oh, Miss Gassy, you never know, you never guess what happened with so-and-so, or, you know, you never what happened with this. And it'd be like, and it was hard because it was like, if I weren't there, that's almost when it pop off. So I found it hard not to get attached, and I found it hard not to take things personally. You know what I mean? So, but it was interesting for me. It was because you can see the impact that you can have. You know what I mean? And you know, eventually his parents took him out of that school, and I guess that maybe they went back to Poland. I'm not really sure. But you know, we worked together for the best part of a year. Yeah, man, he was he was never far behind, you know what I mean? And I was, we were sort of attached to the hip, you know what I mean? He was a special kid. He was a special kid, you know what I mean? He was, I had a lot of time for him.
He was funny as well.
He was a good kid, man. But he'd had a hard life, and like, I don't think people always treated him the best, you know what I mean? So it was like, it's hard. It's hard because, you know what I mean?
Patience with some teachers didn't have certain patience with him as well. And
that's as well.
And I remember sticking up for him a couple of times, and I used to try and stick up for him if I could, say.
I mean, he didn't always help himself.
Yeah, definitely.
He did not always help himself, but
the kid who I work with now is so similar to that.
Yeah,
so similar to him. He stripped the birdies sometimes at kids and wind them up. Go crazy. Yeah. What's he doing, man? What's he doing? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But no, that to me that was an amazing thing, and I saw the change in you. Because it isn't easy, being in that school, especially if you're not even from the ends, and then. But I feel like at that school anyway, you found your calling, and then obviously when he left, I think you kind of seemed real sad. To be fair, you didn't. I don't feel like you didn't get. You still had lost your groove at that point. You know what I mean? Luke lost his groove.
Well, things changed a little bit then. I think I was kind of sort of covering a form class then, and like. Here and there, and like,
I think overall it did get less fun as a school.
Yeah, it did. But you know what? I think it was. I think the kids and the people like yourself that I was working with, like I think, many years later, I still think that is the best group of people that I've worked with. Genuinely. So that kept me there for politics and things like that. Kind of after a while, I kind of got fed up with. But like, that kind of kept me there. I think it's. In terms of cutting your teeth with a job or with an industry, I think that was a special one to do it with. I worked in quite a few schools after that, including I worked in primary schools. I worked in just an SEN school. I think that was probably the last straw before I moved to. That was the last straw, man, because it was just you see the support and stuff. But it was a special one.
Okay, so. Towards the end of career at EGA, you started to get a bit ill, a bit more ill. He's kind of took over his way a little bit more, and then you kind of lost your rhythm because obviously you got to be there for certain things, you couldn't be there, and blah blah blah. And then you obviously left there because politics got in the way, and people. I always felt that they wasn't very fair with the way that everything was handled. I thought they mishandled it. I think I will say it on wax. Like I feel that they basically lost someone very very good, and they were too eager as well to let you go. I personally think.
Yeah, I think towards the end, like I was struggling quite a major way with the health. And it got to the point where it just wasn't sustainable. So we kind of made a decision that kind of benefited everyone ultimately. And so that was that. I don't really hold any grudges because there's nothing to really hold a grudge about. I think
I hold a grudge.
It is what it is. I think I've kind of struggled here and there. With that kind of thing. It's been quite a major sort of contingent in my life, health and all that kind of thing. So, but we are where we are, and I think these are character building experiences, So, but after that, I worked in some schools, and it was never quite the same, just in terms of, I think the people that you're around can have a real kind of effect on those kind of things, you know, and wanting to stay in a place and how much you enjoy it. Because I think, especially when you're working in such a difficult environment, you know, because I remember some situations with you. I remember like breaking up